I like Cars
This
too.
is a review of Cars 2. No, I don't know.
I'm gonna be the unpopular Puffin and say I like Cars too.
I don't
I'm
mind it.
immediately shot.
I think it's okay.
There you go.
I just watched it and I enjoyed it.
This is the second time viewing it. We went and saw it in theaters the first time, and now we've just watched the Spanish version.
Kind of. It had Spanish text.
It was the weirdest thing. Everyone was speaking English, but all the signs and stuff, it was in Spanish. It was really weird.
So we're gonna go through a few different things in this. I want to start by pointing out why I think people don't like this one, though. Other than the obvious reason of it's not as deep as other Pixar movies. It's a fun action film,
Right.
which is fine in its own right, but whatever. People go in with higher expectations, which they shouldn't because it's freaking Cars 2. But
Oh, come on now. Don't be that way. I mean, I liked the first Cars. I think the first Cars was really great, too. Had a good message. It was fun. It was weird. Okay, car world, but we're not going to be questioning that.
So here's basically where I'm coming from on this one, and again, I'm saying this as somebody who'd enjoyed the movie, but the thing with the first Cars movie is it's kind of getting you used to the idea that this is a world of nothing but cars. It's a movie where basically, hey, what if we had a bunch of cars?
Yeah.
And then let's make a plot around that.
Hashtag deal with it. They're cars.
After you get that out of the way, this one now introduces a whole bunch of other
Now
shit.
there's espionage.
It's like, okay, now that you've accepted the cars, what if the cars were spies? And it kind of goes a little bit too far. Like, it's... If you look at the most recent one that they did, which is Inside Out, I think this is a good example.
Right.
The story in that movie is extremely basic. Girl moves to a new town and is unhappy
basic,
and runs
yeah.
away. It's like the simplest story ever, but it's an interesting movie because they tell it in an interesting way. They basically show the mechanics behind the emotions, and the whole movie is basically setting up this premise and rolling with it.
Yeah, the creativity is
That's
really
what
good
the
in
first
it.
Cars does. Cars 2 is like, okay, now that we've set it up, let's just go crazy.
Yeah.
And I think the reason the Toy Story sequels work better is because they never really go that far away from the premise. It still really is just about toys and the relationship with the human
It's
world.
also something that everybody growing up has thought about. Your toys came to life when you left the room. That's what kids think about. My mom convinced me as a kid that my doll ate a piece of graham cracker because she nibbled off of it and left it next to my doll, and I freaked. Okay, so I thought that my doll had come to life. Okay, so every kid goes through that. That's not anything that really needs to be established. So,
Yeah.
like, the establishment of the idea, like in Cars or in Inside Out, is not something that was needed in Toy Story.
So getting all of the this is a world of cars crap out of the way before we even discuss
Right.
the merits of the movie.
We don't care.
It's a world
that
of
they're
cars. It makes no sense. We don't know if there were humans originally and if they died off. We don't know if cars have always existed and they've evolved from some lesser life form.
Yeah.
We don't know if they somehow have the capabilities of creating all these buildings even though they don't have hands.
Right. So
It makes no sense, but we're going to roll with it.
Now, while we don't care about the Cars aspect, this is its own world, we do question a couple of things that did happen in terms of the car world.
We're basically questioning stuff that makes no sense in the plot,
Yeah.
not that's a car, how did
Yeah.
it build Big Ben?
How it
Like,
do, yeah. Like, we don't care about that because
you have to just be, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
who cares? Like,
enjoy the story, enjoy the pretty scenery, yeah, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's start out with the opening of the movie.
surprising amount of death in this movie.
There is.
I was trying to think about other Pixar movies. In Toy Story, you have Combat Carl gets blown up off screen, and I don't think anything else dies in that.
I don't think so. I mean, Woody
And
gets
then-
kind of like tortured.
I mean, he gets damaged, but he doesn't
Yeah.
die. And then Hopper is the villain in Bug's Life. He
Right.
dies. Let's see. Monsters, I don't think anybody dies.
I don't think
It's
so.
like just I'm not going to go through every single one of these
Yeah.
movies, but if there is anybody that dies, it's either a really minor off-screen thing or it's a villain and they
Like,
had it coming.
The difference between this is because all the stuff was on screen. If they weren't cars, it would be rated R.
there would be blood and
There
guts.
would
There's
be
like
so
there's
much
people,
blood and
there's cars
guts.
exploding,
Yeah.
falling into the ocean, and like
Parts
coming
flying,
off. There's a car that's
explosions.
crushed into a cube,
It's kind of
which is basically
gruesome.
the equivalent of like just showing this mangled corpse.
Yeah, it'd be like if a
it's
human was stuck into a crusher. Yeah, it would not be pretty. But the thing is, like, this is the car world. This should be really, really gruesome for these guys because they're cars and they're watching somebody get mangled and tortured in front of them. So it's like, I don't know. It's weird that way. Let's see. So we open up with like a very classic spy type thriller, I guess James Bondish looking. I've never actually
I
seen
have never seen a
anything of
single James Bond movie, so I'm assuming it's
yeah, all I know is
somewhat
the
similar.
tropes.
But
All I know is the tropes. The music is very James Bondy sounding. But yeah, there's like this blue car. We don't know the name of him yet. And there's like Professor German Bad Dude.
which I assume has a name, but I don't know what it is.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't even remember. We're just calling him Professor German Dude.
He's like a Volkswagen with a monocle, and
Yeah.
there's a part where he puts Mater in a truck and there's gas, and I'm like, oh god.
Oh, I didn't
That-
even think about that.
That kind of like
God.
like
I didn't even think about that. That's horrible. Surely they didn't think about that. I don't think
don't
they.
know.
No, they could not have thought about that. Oh my god, that's horrible. Okay, moving on.
that's later on. but
Oh
yeah.
my god.
See, I saw that and I'm just like, oh.
Well, I know you
like,
you like kind of gasped during that part, but I thought you were laughing at just the gassing a car, you know. But I did not even think about that angle.
I'm just
Oh,
like
man.
Pixar. That's kind of much.
Okay. Let's see here. He's taking pictures of some sort of device that they have, and explosions, death of characters, and he manages to escape with the pictures on some kind of device or something.
There's a part where they like drop these two ships into the ocean to go after him, and I feel so bad for these ships. They're just strapped to the side of this oil rig, and
Hanging
they
out.
can't move at all.
Hey Dave, what's up?
And then it's like, oh, we gotta send them out. It's like, oh, we get to do something. Like,
Yeah, I feel bad for the planes and boats because their sole purpose is to transport the cars around. Like, what?
yeah, at least the planes like, flying is always cool though.
Like, is that,
and
like,
they got
what
their
we're-
own spin-off, so
No, but it wasn't Pixar.
I know,
So,
but they got
yeah.
their spin-off, 2 of them actually.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. We cut, after the blue car escapes, which we find out later his name is Finn
Finn McMissile.
McMissile, which
Yeah.
let's call him Finn or Missile. So we cut to Radiator Springs, and there's a little bit of...
Enter Larry the Cable Guy. You're gonna be getting a lot of him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, though, it really doesn't sound like him.
It does very
Really?
much,
Like,
but
'cause I don't-
you never really listened to Larry the Cable
No,
Guy.
we
though,
did.
so.
We watched some of his, like,
I mean, there's parts in
stand-up.
this where he does his signature lines. It's like they don't even hide it because he always
I
goes,
see.
"Oh, that's funny right there." Like he
Oh,
says
okay.
that several
See,
times.
like, I don't know. It sounded like overly forced Southern accent, like, to me, so I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't care. It's
Yeah, I don't-
like I don't have a problem with.
I know it's Larry the Cable Guy, but to me that doesn't detract
That's-
because I've never watched Larry the Cable Guy.
And that's the other thing that people hate about this movie, I think, is that Mater is the main character and he's kind of annoying, but he's not that bad.
He's annoying, but that's his character.
I mean, the thing is, like, one of the last lines of the movie when they come back and
Mm-hmm.
spy cars are in there and stuff, and they say like you're like the nicest and most honest car I know. Like, he's kind of dumb, but he does have good intentions.
Yeah, he's very
and-
down to earth. He's just
Yeah.
like the main message of the movie, which is a little bit ham-fisted in some areas, is basically be yourself. You know, don't worry about what other people think of you. Just be friends. If you are friends with somebody who's annoying, like, but you're actually friends, then you kind of like learn to overlook that.
I feel
So-
like the message is kind of though, because like
It's not a
if you take the examples that the movie gives, like
Mm-hmm.
causing this giant ruckus in this big event with your
Yeah.
friends up on stage and you run up and frickin'
Yeah.
start screaming and then like
your patience
wet yourself
would
on
be
the
very
floor.
thin.
Like, yeah, that's a bit much.
Your patience would be thin. Like, thinking of it from a humor perspective, that would be like having a really annoying person that you've been friends with for maybe, like, McQueen and Mater didn't even grow up together. So I would actually believe it more if Mater and McQueen were friends, like, from quote unquote birth, because that's really the only way you'd put up with this guy. I feel. But
Yeah, I was actually surprised with because I'd never really watched the first movie. I've seen the vast majority of it just through it being on TV, but I don't think I ever actually sat down and watched it. And so I knew that Mater and Lightning were friends, but I didn't
it's
realize that he was actually that close.
yeah, it's a little bit odd, honestly, like coming and watching the second one, because yeah, the first one they learn to be friends and stuff like that, but the second one, it's like you can tell McQueen is not entirely impressed with Mater and his behavior around, obviously, fancy places and stuff like that. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if he's being friends because he feels like he has to be. It could be that situation, but I don't know. He seems to be a legit friend.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell the parts of cars, shall we say. um, but yeah, after we cut back to Radiator Springs, McQueen's been gone for a while and is now back. Mater is super excited to see him. Doc from the first movie is dead because reasons. They don't give an explanation. I guess
Did the
old
voice
age.
actor die?
Maybe.
I don't know who it was.
Possibly.
So.
He was like an old guy. So I don't know.
I don't even remember the character really. So
he's just for those who don't remember, he's the guy who taught McQueen how to like drift on dirt and stuff like that. He's the Hudson Hornet big racer back in his day. I think he's like a 50s car or something. I don't know. Just this classic 50s.
He wasn't
car.
the one who broke down in the final race, was he? That was a different car.
No, he did break down in a race, but that was like his last
like
race,
the race at the end of the movie where like the other car stalls out and Lightning pushes him. That was a different character.
Yeah,
right?
it was a different character.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a while since I've seen the first one, but I know that Hudson Hornet in the last race of the first movie was like what Mater's job was in this movie was to tell him where to be on the track and stuff like that. Which I guess is like the pit master or whatever they call them. Let's see. McQueen has won the prize of the Hudson Hornet.
Mater fails to realize that he wants to be left alone.
Yeah, McQueen and Mater hang out for like the day, but then McQueen's like, "Look, I'm gonna go have a dinner with Sally," which is from the first movie, his girlfriend or whatever.
She is the most.
Let's
boring
not even
character.
get into the idea of car sex. Let's see. So they go to the restaurant. Mater shows up there pretending to be the waiter.
I'm Mater the waiter. That's funny right there.
It was kind of funny. I don't know. I like his voice though. I think it's a funny voice. There's
sudden exposition.
There is very sudden exposition.
It's like, hey, look, thing on TV.
Yeah, they're like Mater goes up to the bar to order their food, and there's really sudden exposition on the nearby TV with an electric converted car and showing the World Grand Prix. The electric converted car is Sir Miles' Axelrod. Kind of a heavy, like, pollution bad, thing. So I've got this new product called All in All.
Yeah.
I was trying to... All in All. That's, like, some kind of new fuel or something like that. It's not... I guess it's just, like, good green fuel or something. I'm not sure. But you think, like, if he's an electric car, then why is he touting fuel? I don't know. It's not traditional oil-based fuel, though. He's going to be running the World Grand Prix, which is 3 races in...
It was Japan, Italy, and
London.
Yeah.
So Francesco is introduced as a racer, aka like the antagonist for the film.
Kind of.
Well, yeah,
he's
them.
He's just kind of the rival. He's not even the bad
rival.
guy.
Yeah, I guess I like that better. Rival towards McQueen. Makes fun of McQueen for not being in the race because McQueen's like tired. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna take a break in Radiator Springs. Mater calls up though and says McQueen's better than Francesco, and eventually they, like Mater and McQueen and all that, they agree to enter the World Grand Prix race. Yay, yeah. Sally says to bring Mater along. McQueen didn't look very excited about that at first, but then everybody kind of like, yeah, he'll be great, and he kind of seemed resigned to it, like, okay, whatever. Montage for getting ready for the race. Cool little song. They go to Japan.
car Japan is kind of awesome.
It's bizarre.
It was...
Yeah. It's really
It was
cool
very,
looking.
very Japanese, and it was... there were cars, and that's pretty much
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
Like,
they have, like, the stereotypical, they show, like, the vending machines, the sleeping pods, you know, like, all the stuff that stereotype Japan gets, you know, it's...
wait, Japan has sleeping pods?
Well, that's, like, something, like, stereotypical thing, like, you know, where you like, get into a space that's, like, the length of your body, and you sleep there for, like, an hour or two or something like that.
I don't think I ever saw that, actually.
Oh, okay. I could be thinking of something else, too, but I think that's a stereotype. Same thing with the toilets.
Yeah, the toilet scene...
We'll get to that.
Was kind of great.
Let's see. After arriving, they go to a party, which basically gathers all the racers together and introduces them. McQueen tells Mater to just, look, behave.
Which he doesn't at fricking all.
At all.
He is so fricking annoying.
But the thing is, he doesn't try to be. He's just being him, which is
he's just
annoying.
very outlandish.
Yeah.
Like,
But he's not, like, annoying in the sense of, like, poke, poke, poke. He's just being loud, you know, rambunctious. Doesn't know that it's wasabi, not pistachio ice cream. You know, McQueen tells him, like, look, just calm down, go get a drink or whatever. Mater says hi to Francesco, and then they have a little Mater, McQueen, and Francesco, like, sling insults. And, yeah, like, my muffler's bigger than your muffler kind of thing. Pretty
spark plug.
Yeah, false politeness, you know, like, oh, I'm going to win. No, I'm going to win. It's like... Oh.
And then the movie ends.
Yeah, really.
I don't know why I said that.
Axelrod eventually comes out.
He is kind of just there.
Yeah, he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to announce...
He's there for plot reasons.
Yeah, I'm going to announce all the racers. But he does that in the background while we then cut back to the opening the opening of the movie with the arrival of Finn. Finn McMissile. And someone is with him, purple car, named Holly, spelled Holley, which is a really weird name, spelling of Holly. I've never seen that before. Holly Shiftwell. They talk about they need to get photos of whatever was taken at the site.
Yeah, I'm still not completely sure what was going on in this part. It was very confusing.
It's like...
They have an American car who I don't think ever got a name.
Yeah.
And he's, like, supposed to meet with them and...
Give them
the
device.
Intelligence.
Yeah.
I think it's literally just the intelligence from TF2.
Well,
it's like I don't know what this thing actually is.
I mean, in hindsight, it's basically a picture of a car's engine. I don't know, we might have missed it, but there's a lot of exposition between these two that they suddenly have to get in all of a sudden, and there's a lot of, like, back and forth, and you're kind of, like, just going off of Mater being annoying, and your brain is still trying to, like, figure out what's going to happen with that, and then they all of a sudden shove you into the spy plot, and it's like, okay, what are you talking about? And so I'm a little bit confused because the American has some kind of intelligence that McMissile doesn't have, that they need. Holly's
which turns out to just be one photo.
Yeah, it's like one photo.
I don't think there's anything else that he ever actually
There might have been
gives.
a couple other photos, but what was McMissile doing in the beginning of the movie, taking pictures of, like, the device that they were going to use during the film, I guess.
Oh, he was just checking what they were doing.
Yeah, but I guess the American...
What he finds is that it looks like a video camera, but it's like an electromagnetic pulse thing.
It's some kind of device that they blow up cars with.
I don't know.
But yeah, anyway, so the American, like, came back from another mission or something. Anyway...
And then he dies.
Yeah, he actually does. Let's see. Mater interrupts McQueen's speech. There's a pee joke.
Yay, pee joke.
And
a plot-relevant pee joke.
It actually is. It's surprising. He heads off to the bathroom, Mater, and encounters the stereotypical Japanese toilet. It's really kind of amazing because they have, like, you know, the little car that's speaking in very cute Japanese.
With, like, the anime eyes.
Gigantic eyes. Yeah, it's really funny. In the same bathroom, the American is there, who is going to make the drop, comes into the bathroom, but he's confronted by two bad guys and is actually beaten up. Now, Mater...
He's getting attacked by a toilet and doesn't notice.
Yeah, pops out of the bathroom.
And then he just kind of... this is the part that we didn't get. The other car just kind of is like, hey, have this thing,
Well,
and
like,
just sticks it on him.
he doesn't tell Mater, like, the American
Yeah.
car is behind Mater. Mater inadvertently gets between him and the bad guys. The American car shifts the intelligence, which we're going to call now, onto Mater for some reason.
Yeah.
I really don't know why.
I mean, I guess it's because he knew he was going to get caught.
Well, it's not. I guess that, but the intelligence has a tracker, so Holly knows who it is.
Right.
The intelligence has the photos of what they need. Why doesn't the American just leave the bathroom with Mater? Like, there was the cars, and Mater's like, bye, and he just kind of stayed in the bathroom with the bad guys.
Well, how was he going to get out? I mean,
just go around the bad guys. Like,
because I think it's assumed that they would stop him.
But they weren't continuing to beat him up with Mater in the room. They were like, oh, hey, how's it going? Nothing's happening here, kind of thing.
Yeah, and as soon as Mater left, then he would get attacked again.
Right. Is what I'm saying. You leave with Mater. Because Mater's leaving the bathroom.
I don't know.
The American could have gone with him, but either way.
So we had to do this to set up the hilarious plot of freaking like an hour and a half passing where the spies still don't realize that Mater isn't a spy.
There's so many points where they should have realized, honestly.
Yeah, there's like every single thing the guy says basically gives it away, and they're just like, oh.
Oh, yeah, right, like, yeah, you're a tow truck, I get that, and I'm just a, engineer or whatever. And so Mater gets encountered by Holly, who then mistakes him for the American. Mater strokes...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this fucking part. This made me actually, stop the movie, and I had to write this down. Somehow Mater strokes of luck into the passcode. She asks him a question about a car. He answers the correct question about the car, because he's a tow truck, and he knows all about cars.
I mean, it wasn't actually a question, it was just it was like a statement, and then he follows it up with a different statement.
This car has a buffer, and he's like, oh, of course, because blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like this... It's the equivalent of, the crow caws at midnight, and then you follow it up with, some other random thing.
Right.
But this one is, an actual fact.
It's a fact
that he
about
just
the car.
kind of happens to guess, and...
But the thing is, the problem with this is they're cars. Every car should know about cars because they're cars. Why would the correct answer to a car question be the answer to a passcode? That would be like me going up into somebody who, say humans. Humans have brains. And you're like, yeah, because we
use them
think.
to think.
That's the equivalent of that. Because...
I mean, it was more specific because it was a specific model of engine that they were talking about, but yeah.
But still. So, we were confused at this point about the package, but, I mean, in hindsight, we kind of know what it was.
Yeah.
Let's see. Holly and Mater have a misunderstanding. She thinks he's the spy.
This is basically misunderstanding the movie.
Yeah, he thinks she's a date for some reason. The American has been kidnapped by the bad guys at this point, and they've switched over to look and see what's going on with that. They're using all in all on him, and explains that it's dangerous to use because they got this device that will, boil it inside of you. Which is kind of...
If you have the fuel, then yeah, if they
reacts with...
If they send this pulse at you,
they're
then
electromagnetic, I don't know what it is.
Causes the engine to burn out or something.
So they're basically torturing this guy. That's it's like they're pumping formaldehyde into his veins, basically.
And then they blow him up.
Yeah, he blows up into flames, and it's just kind of disturbing because... I don't know, maybe other people have a different reaction to it, but I always think of this, in its own world, because it's in its own little car world, and if you relate it to your own human world, and this is somebody who just got blown up by having something get pumped into them, they point something at you, and you, boom, that's everywhere. So, let's see. He does give away, however, that Mater has the sensitive information.
Except he doesn't really. He just he doesn't say anything, and then they kind of infer it.
They do, a Daredevil thing. They, look at his reaction to different pictures of people. Does he have it? Does he have it? And then they put to a picture of Mater. Does he have it? And the car, does a reaction, which is a terrible spy. Bad spy. You shouldn't do that. American car dies, so he's gone from the movie.
Then there's a race.
Yeah, there's a race. It does establish in this point that everybody in the race is powered by the all in all. Let's see. Call back to the first movie with McQueen's little speech. Francesco makes fun of him, causing McQueen to get angry. The race is more interesting than NASCAR. Um, let's see. We cut back to Holly in the middle of the race, and she's confused why Mater is in the pit with the rest of McQueen's crew. So they expect him...
Because he's blending in.
Yeah, because he's blending in as a tow truck. So they expect him to, like, contact them eventually. The bad guys activate their device that causes the All-in-All to explode in one of the cars, and they notice Mater in the pit, and then they realize, oh, that's the guy who has the info from the American car, so they rush off to get him. Holly warns Mater, and then another car blows up. Mater leaves the pit, but he's supposed to be helping McQueen. So, like...
So then it turns into basically the episode of every show where there's, like, the guy who has... the little earpiece, getting dating tips,
right.
and then getting the wrong info.
Pretty much.
And it just leads to freaking Gary Busey telling the guy to say that he has the Loch Ness Monster in his pants, or like...
Okay.
But
yeah, Mater's basically supposed to be guiding McQueen through the various points of the race, like telling him when to watch out for cars, what side of the road to be on, should he be on the inside or outside, that kind of thing. I think real races actually have that to make sure no wrecks happen and stuff.
Yeah, and so there's a part where he basically says, like, move to the outside curve, and he moves, and he loses the race because of that.
Race, yeah.
And you'd think that Lightning would be like, well, why should I move? It's open in front of me. But I guess he was just following the instructions.
Yeah, I mean, because there might have been something coming up behind him, or something could be coming from the side. Like, he doesn't know. He's racing. And that's why you trust your, like, ground crew. Let's see. So he loses the race. There's a little fight sequence between McMissile and the bad guys, like, trying to get to Mater. And then Holly just kind of tells Mater, okay, we'll contact you later. Our cover's been blown. He still thinks that she's gonna go on a date with him. Who knows why?
I think it was Luigi, because, like, he says, like, I'm supposed to meet at a rendezvous. What's a rendezvous? And then... Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was one of the pit crew. It's just like, it's basically like a date, and he just kind of rolls with it. That's what it was.
Okay. Let's see. McQueen is very upset with Mater, understandably.
Yeah, gets pretty pissed with him. Says that he doesn't want him to help with any of the other races.
It's kind of like the old Yeller scene, you know, like, bad guy, I don't need you anymore, like the Bella. The Bella.
Well,
Edwards
no,
scene.
because in this one he's actually legitimately kind of pissed off.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, then the next part is, what's his face? The green car is saying that, like,
Rod or whatever his name is.
Saying that it is safe. We've done we're gonna do testing on it, and we're gonna use it in the next race.
Right.
And
which is a little bit iffy at this point, because first of all, 3 cars blew up. The only thing...
Conveniently, not any of the ones we care about.
Right, yeah,
though.
Definitely. Though at this point,
that for Act 3.
Yeah, though at this point, they're not after McQueen. But, basically, like, all of the cars are using All-in-All. 3 cars blow up. You would think, people would be like, whoa, step back a minute. We need to see if this fuel is, like, legit. You know, is there something wrong with the fuel or whatever? So they don't tell, like, if it's been tested or not, but he's like, you know, it's safe. It's going to be used in the next race, and nobody seems to question this. Let's see.
Airport scene, not a whole lot happens, really.
It's a fun chase. You know, they get to an airplane, they escape from bad guys, Mater and Finn.
I think somebody pointed out, it was either Brad Jones or Doug Walker, that the scene where, like, the bad guy gets, like, thrown into the thing of oil. Like, oil is pee in this universe, so it's like, it's more bathroom humor.
Yeah, definitely.
But
let's see, I noticed that it must suck to be a plane that has to carry cars around all day. The Spanish note. Like, Mater leaves a note, because Mater's at the airport to leave, basically, to go home, because McQueen told him, like, dude, just get away, you know, go back home, or whatever. And, he leaves a note saying, I'm just gonna leave now, but, of course, in our version, it's in Spanish. Thankfully, everybody reads it out loud. In the plane, they still don't realize Mater is a spy. State Farm product placement. For some reason. They still don't realize he isn't a spy after his State Farm product placement. Let's see.
He doesn't ever actually say State Farm, but yeah,
he does
he
the
does
jingle.
the jingle.
Yeah, he does the jingle. Everybody knows the jingle at this point. Um, they plan to so they take the picture off of him, the intelligence or whatever. There's a picture of an engine, and there's like a picture of rare parts and stuff in the picture shown. So they're gonna track that down and
so they have to go find the guy in Paris.
Yeah, they go to Paris to find their informant. They find their informant. There's a small chase through the city, I guess, because he doesn't want to inform them. And the picture they show him, he's able to identify the parts used in the engine. I feel like that part wasn't needed. Like, they could have just left that out and have Mater identify the parts. Like, you don't need the informant, you don't need the trip to Paris, because really that's all that happens in Paris, from what I remember.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
So they really could have cut that out. That's like one part of the movie I'm like, maybe cut that. Let's see. But they do notice at this point all the bad guys are lemon cars. So a plot is starting to finally emerge here.
And here's where we started thinking then, back to the car world makes no sense. Because cars don't give birth to other cars, that means that there's either factories making them or the cars are basically designing new models.
But this comes up later because at this point we don't know. But basically later on we learn that the lemon cars are angry that their parts aren't being produced anymore, and they're just kind of being left off for the newer stuff. So we kind of like... It's kind of horrifying to think about that.
Basically what's happening here is, like, the real world equivalent is almost just, like, disabled people...
It's euthanasia,
being left to die. And it's weird because in the real world, if you have a kid and they have a problem, like, that's not your fault. It's a birth defect. In the car world, what's basically happening here is they're designing these other models of cars, trying out different stuff, and they're like, oh, I guess this one doesn't work.
We're not going to manufacture this part anymore. Like, how do you do that?
Like, this model here isn't very good. We'll go back to what we were doing before. Yeah. Sorry.
So, like, honestly, they have a good point. They have an actual legit motive for doing this. Their arms are going away, basically. Like, they will have no functionality. They will die because their parts are slowly rusting and slowly causing them to die. Like, what a legit point they have for getting back on track. Like, you know, hey, we want our parts. How do we get our parts? Oh, I don't know, take this down. So, like, granted, they probably could go about it in a different way, like maybe start their own manufacturing of their own parts, but still, that,
what the hell?
It's kind of creepy when you think about it.
I didn't think about that. Like, why don't they make their own parts?
Yeah, so, like, it's kind of creepy when you think about it, but that's, you know, I guess you gotta go to school for that. I don't know.
Oh, but you don't need to go to school to make a freaking, like, electromagnet that makes fuel blow up.
Well, they got somebody to do that for them. But anyway, we got ahead of ourselves a little bit.
So then they render the entire freaking country of Italy.
It really is an amazing shot. I really remember that sitting in theater.
Yeah.
And in this overview shot...
We looked at the shot and we're like, holy crap.
Amazing. It really, really looks amazing. So, like, if anything, the movie looks good.
It basically... it had to create 4 distinct cities, because they did Paris also. They managed to slip a Ratatouille joke in there. But that's probably the only reason they did Paris. They're like, hey, we got to get this joke in. Let's render a freaking entire city.
It's really, really nice. They do a very good job on the rendering of the city. So anyway, we're in Italy with the racers. McQueen is sad because Major's gone. Don't know why. Even though he's ruined everything at this point. McQueen realizes
there was like this conversation that happened at one point where it's just like, oh, if he's your friend, why should he act any different?
Yeah, it's a little bit ham-fisted, honestly. I feel like it should have been shown, not really told, because the lesson in the movie is actually told, not shown. Let's see.
Pope-mobile inside a Pope-mobile.
Well, that's let's see. The Mater has been disguised as one of the bad guys, like, tow truck. At this point, they still don't realize he's a spy.
Yeah, even though he's very freaking clearly not one.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a great little shot of the Pope-mobile inside the Pope-mobile. They start the race, and...
Now that I think about it, that really, if nothing else gave it away beforehand, that really should have given it away, because there was a part earlier where they said, like, that rust job looks so authentic. It must have cost a fortune.
Yeah.
And now there's the part where he's like, I don't want you to take out my dents. They're important. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
hello.
Yeah,
This is real rust.
should've-
This is real dents.
This is
like,
this is somebody who does not realize what is going on. So he has to infiltrate this meeting. I'm kind of wondering at this point why he is going along with this, because he has no idea what's going on. Like, here, infiltrate this meeting. Why?
okay.
Yeah, exactly. The race continues during all this. Mater tows the bad guy into a casino. No one realizes that he's not him, or the original tow truck.
Yeah, that was so bad. He
The
has
voice-
a completely different
voice
voice.
is
He
completely
doesn't know
different.
what's going on.
Yeah.
He's like rattling off all these aliases and crimes that this one guy did.
Yeah.
And
He's
they're
like,
like,
dude,
okay.
you're gonna get me arrested, man. Yeah, again, suspension of disbelief, but it's within its own world. It even doesn't really make sense. The meeting gets started, and the boss is on screen with the group of lemon cars. He's upset with the parts not being manufactured, which we talked about. So let's see.
They blow up a few more cars.
Yeah, they start blowing up some more cars. They're basically the lemon cars are the owner of the oil reserve, and they want all in all to be gotten rid of. Finn and Holly see the device that the bad guys are using for the explosions, and they go to take it out. Finn is captured as he's about to stop them, even though a huge pileup is in the race, and a number of cars are put out of commission. McQueen wins that race, but finds out all the cars behind them are wiped out, so he's a little sad about that, because, obviously that's bad.
That's bad. Okay.
Axelrod is asked if the race will continue, and for some reason they allow it. Elenol will be taken off, though, and run on regular gas, though you have the choice if you want to run with Elenol or regular. So, McQueen... Well, Mater...
Well, you said for some reason they allow it. If the problem is to be with the fuel they're using, then I see no reason not to continue the race.
Right.
So, that's why I said that they won't be using that anymore. But
right, but
McQueen
but
chooses
McQueen
to use it
chooses to go
anyway.
with Elenol. So, which is really stupid to me, because you now have some kind of evidence that Elenol probably isn't... Now, whether it's the fuel or not, they obviously don't know that a device is causing this. But, however, the only thing between all the cars that are the same is the fuel.
Yeah.
So, if... I would be like, no. Let's use the regular
It's because Hippie
gas.
Bus.
Yeah. So...
Hippie Bus says it's okay.
Hippie Bus says it's safe. Mater's captured, and the terrible gas joke is made, which I guess isn't a joke.
What was it?
He's gassed in the car, I think.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty bad. Yeah.
Because Mater's exposed in the thing, he's captured. Yeah, he tries to warn...
Oh, he, accidentally starts shooting at all the villain cars, which was actually kind of funny.
I actually did enjoy that, because he's like, "Daggone," and the thing is like, "Oh, guns!" And he's like, "No, shoot! I didn't mean that." And then it deploys to shoot. That was pretty funny.
But yeah, so they gas him, and then he has the existential crisis where they basically spend 2 minutes just replaying things that you've already seen.
It's basically all the annoying stuff he's done in the movie.
Didn't need to be there. I remembered even in the theater, this is padding.
Yeah.
This is reminding us of stuff we just saw. We don't need to see this.
Don't need it, but oh well.
But it's his moment where he realizes, I am annoying.
It's the low point in every movie that the character has. It's the low point of the movie, and then right after the low point, they get the, burst of adrenaline, and they do the good things. It's like in every movie. So they wake up, Finn, Holly, and Mater from being captured, and they're inside Big Ben in London.
So let's actually, at first I thought that was really stupid, because they brought them to the city where they would have the ability to interfere.
Right.
But apparently they were planning on that, because they put the bomb on him. So that was actually part of their plan.
Right, so it's a good little twist that way. Why did you guys bring him here? But anyway, Mater finally gets through to them. They realize he isn't a spy. They escape, and the race gets started, blah, blah. Let's see. The bad guys start to use their device, aiming it on McQueen, and it doesn't work, though.
Which we find out why at the end.
Yeah. Mater cuts through his ropes with a machine gun. Let's see. And he rushes off to save McQueen. Reverse polarity magic.
I'm gonna shoot my electro thing at this thing here and reverse the polarity to make the clock run backwards.
Go backwards. I don't know if that would actually work. So somebody who's knowledgeable about Big Ben or clocks.
I don't think anything that ever involves the phrase reverse the polarity is ever going to be true.
Oh my god. Let's see. The other spies escape. They find something of Mater's that looks like a filter or something, and then they deduce, oh, he's got a bomb inside of him. Because Mater knew, because the bad guys told Mater, oh, we put a bomb in the pit. So Mater rushes off to
There's
the pit
a bomb in the lasagna.
to save McQueen, but it turns out Mater is the bomb. Let's see. So McQueen rushes after Mater's like, oh, I have a bomb, don't come near me. But McQueen starts running after him. He's like, no, wait, I want to be your friend anyway.
And he just kind of abandons the race.
Yeah, there's a very long chase sequence between him and Mater. The boat is evil.
Yeah, evil boat.
There's an evil. Holly goes off to help Mater and McQueen. The German professor trying to escape the scene is caught by Finn. The boat that professor's trying to get to is like evil and tries to blow up Finn, but Finn like releases bombs and blows it up, so it dies. Let's see.
So
Mater goes up to the Queen.
I mean, there's a few things that happen, but whatever, nothing major.
It's terribly important. Yeah.
Stuff happens.
They end up at the
Bomb
Queen.
has 5 minutes left. He like tries to deactivate it. It goes down to 4 minutes, and it's like, oh no, this thing's gonna blow. And then they spend like 20 goddamn minutes getting to the next area, explaining plot, having heartfelt moments.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, bomb.
It probably would have gone off, but I would have to time it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mater tries to let them know who's sabotaging the race, but he has a bomb near the Queen, so everybody's like freaking out. He points out Axelrod, the owner of All in All, and Mater forces Axelrod to say deactivate because he's standing right in front of him and didn't want to be blown up. So he's revealed as the bad guy because he didn't actually convert from fuel. He's still like a oil car, I guess, and that's where the P joke like comes back. It turns out Mater
he was the one that leaked oil.
Mater didn't actually leak oil. It was Axelrod. So, let's see.
So Mater gets knighted somehow.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because the Queen's like in front of him, and then there's like that slow rise of the antenna that made me laugh for some reason because it was like the slowest antenna rising ever.
And that's
pretty much it. Like, yeah,
I don't think we even really needed to go over the whole plot, but that we just kind of wanted to
just to
recap
kind of show
it and point out the high points and low points.
Yeah.
So
people who haven't seen it or whatever.
With basically, the thing with this movie is that it is probably Pixar's worst movie, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
Right.
I think it has like a 30-something on Rotten Tomatoes, and it doesn't deserve that.
I really don't think it does because people...
It's a decent movie. Like, it's not high art, but it's not trying to be.
I always portray it as a stupid
it's a popcorn
summer
flick.
blockbuster kind of fun family spy film. Like, it's just a conglomeration of fun things to watch. It doesn't really even need a deep message. It doesn't need, like, a heartwarming, ugly cry moment, like all the other Pixar movies have. Like, this one doesn't make you tear up at all, which is kind of a refreshing change of pace, because if you have a Pixar marathon, you're, like, dead.
Yeah, it's like every single Pixar movie...
It will make you cry.
Not every one of them, but most of them will.
Most of them will.
They all have kind of, like, the roller coaster of emotions that you go on.
It'll make you ugly cry, right. But this one, it's just a nice, refreshing, blockbuster, fun action flick, and I don't see a problem with that. A lot of people rat on it because, it's like the worst movie ever made, when it's not. It's just the worst Pixar movie made.
Yeah.
And it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
It's so much better than DreamWorks' low period.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
DreamWorks had the shittiest low period.
DreamWorks had awful low period.
And then they got back from it, and
yeah.
Everybody's like, now DreamWorks is the best ever because they've made some good movies. And it's like, hey, Pixar made a lot of good movies too. They're still good.
Yeah, one bad movie, and everybody's like, Pixar's dying!
Well, yeah, because they made this one, everybody immediately abandoned ship. Then they released Brave, which was mediocre, and they're like, worst movie ever.
Yeah.
Then Monsters University, which was another unnecessary prequel, but it's like, it wasn't bad. It just didn't need to exist necessarily.
Yeah, again, if you're judging Pixar by Pixar standards, then yes, Cars 2 would be the worst one of their films. But it's still not a bad film.
probably still a cash grab because it is an
Well,
extremely
yeah, easy merchandise.
lucrative franchise that they have.
Right, it's easy merchandise, easy for children to watch
Like,
because it doesn't have heavy handfast, like heavy themes that you have to like
now,
slug through.
Cars also had like a bunch of shorts, didn't it? Like those Mater's Tall Tales things.
I think it was just one short.
I thought it was a bunch of them.
I don't remember now.
Because I think
It wasn't a TV series, though.
it wasn't a TV series, but I think there was a few of those.
Oh, I don't know. I thought there was just one.
I don't know.
But yeah, I don't.
So I mean, it was marketed to kids, and I think it worked for what it was.
Yeah, it works for the kids. It works for even us right now because I still kind of enjoyed the movie.
And that's another thing, though, is I don't ever want to say a movie was not great, but it's fine for kids because kids are dumb, they'll like whatever.
Right.
That's not what this is, though. It's just like, if you compare this to, like, Up, Up is clearly meant to be kind of an emotional movie.
Right. You don't have to...
At least for the first 10
You don't
minutes.
have to explain death to your child with Cars 2. Yes, there are cars blowing up and stuff like that, but you don't think about that in terms of death. You don't see a character, like, go into depression and then die of old age, and the kid's looking up at you like, "Mommy, where did she go?" And you're like sobbing, It's like you're not gonna get that with Cars 2, which is sometimes what families
nobody should have ever expected.
No,
even the first Cars wasn't that deep. It
didn't need to be that.
Yeah, it was.
It's a car movie. It's a fun, stupid car movie. That's all it needs to be. So, in defense of Cars 2, I say, watch it.
If you haven't seen it, give it a try. If you have seen it and think it was terrible, I mean...
Just think about it.
I can't say you're wrong, but it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Like, people give this movie way too much
If you
shit.
haven't seen it, I would suggest at least watching it for the stupid fun. It's stupid fun, and that's all it is. It's like Transformers, but not as bad. Or racist.
And as freaking dumb as Mater is, and some of the dumb stuff that he does in that movie, he is entertaining.
He is funny.
I do laugh at some of the crap that he does.
Yeah. So I hope to... There's going to be so many bad comments. But I hope to at least change somebody's mind about how they think about Cars 2. Now, whether or not you agree, at least respect opinions and all that. We respect your opinion if you're like, oh, it's the worst movie ever made, because everybody's
moral
a
of the
little bit
movie
different.
is don't change, just be yourself. But damn it, you have to learn to accept this movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, like, be yourself is different than...
I know.
I mean, being yourself is different than going around and telling everybody else that they're ugly, So, just think about how you think about the movie. In terms of, it's stupid, yes, but is it fun?
Also,
yes.
if you haven't seen Inside Out, it's really good.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
I don't know if it's still in theaters, but
made me cry. Stupid short in front
the
of
volcano
it.
short.
Oh my
Fuck
god!
that thing.
I
Saddest
was
thing
dying. I was like, I'm like trying not to like openly sob in the movie theater, and I'm like, ugh. It was so bad, and I'm like, how?
It's weird because some people thought that one was really bad and like annoying, and I just saw that thing and I'm like, oh my god, this is the saddest thing.
It was the saddest thing. I was like trying to not die and cry in this movie theater, and I'm like, Pixar, how you make me feel for Volcano? It's like, and apparently it's based off of some old story or something like that, and it was like the sweetest song, and I'm like, oh my god. But yeah, anyway. At least
getting off subject.
Yeah, but yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you think about Cars 2 a little bit better than it probably than people give it credit for. So anyway,
we will try to raise its Rotten Tomatoes rating by at least 2 points.
2 points. Anyway, bye.